Ya, Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Waalaikumsalam.
Good afternoon, everyone. We are from the second group, and today we are going to present about mata kuliah pembelajaran sosial emosional, which about are there any cases related to the social emotional matters based on your experience in observing the teaching and learning process that you have participated in? But before we are going to introduce ourselves, my name is Afina Pradini.
My name is Arif Sudi Kumawaga Kusuma.
And my name is Mutiara Binti Sabira.
My name is Risa Megawatari.
Okay, so based on our experiences in observing the teaching and learning process that we have participated in, there are several cases that are relevant to this matter. The first one is about students with difficulties in socializing with peers in 12th grade in SMA N3 Bogor, and then the second one is managing emotions when teaching special needs students in 11th grade at SMA 2 Bogor. And then the third one is bullying case in 11th grade in SMA 3 Bogor. And then the fourth one
Yes, about lack of responsibility and lack of motivation in SMA Negeri Bogor.
Okay, now let's move to the first case, which about students with difficulties in socializing with peers. So based on my experience, when during the observation, it can be known that students who had difficulty socializing were found in the case subject who was a 12th grade student at SMA 3 Bogor, and this subject who has difficulty socializing with peers is a quiet boy, indifferent, likes to withdraw from the group, and has difficulty in controlling emotions. So let's call this boy as with his initial, which is PJ. So the first time I came to his class, to PJ's class, is 12C. 12C. The first time I saw him, I think that he's a very sweet boy because he paid attention to everything, and his table is close to mine. So this is teacher's table and this is PJ's table. And then he started to ask things about me and my PPG program. But then I noticed that he sat alone. So the row of the table at that class is that this row is full with girls, and PJ sit in front of that row. And then the second row consists girls and boys, but mostly with boys. In front of that row is girls, but the rest is boys. And then the last row of the table is filled with boys. And you know the difference is boys here, but PJ is also a boy, but he's sitting here with the girls. And then I think that because of that the attendance is not full, so I think that maybe just one of the students who sit next to PJ. But the next meeting, I noticed that this chair remains empty, so I pretend to ask him like, oh ini meja, ini siapa ya tadi yang nggak masuk? And then he said like, oh kalau yang ini memang kosong nih, kosong. Terus kok itu ada yang duduk berempat? And indeed at that time in the middle row there are boys who are grouping, sampai ada yang duduk berempat. Loh, kok itu berempat kenapa gitu? Oh itu biasa miss. Memangnya itu nggak duduk di sini awalnya? Enggak miss, emang mereka di sana. Terus ini memang kamu sendirian biasanya? Iya miss, tapi kalau aku sih emang biasanya suka sendiri aja gitu. Dan I was like, oh ya gitu. But then I confirmed him again. Tapi kalau nanti misalnya berkelompok nggak apa-apa ya. Misal nanti berdua atau butuh berkelompok. And then he said, four. And then he said like, iya nggak apa-apa miss, because at first I'm scared that he was the victim of the bullying, but luckily he isn't. And then so at school, PJ is a quiet child, likes to be alone and has no friends, so his classmates rarely play with PJ. And according to
all of you,
and according to
the essential thing.
And according to my observation, PJ often separates himself when studying in groups or just communicating with friends. And when asked the reason, he just answered, ya gitulah miss, kurang cocok, tapi saya suka sendiri aja sih memang. And then based on my observation, also at that time, the cause of the subject difficulty in socializing with peers was a mismatch in some way. And however, based on information from several of his classmates, there were no classmates who wanted to play with PJ because PJ was quiet and indifferent, and the low ability to communicate and establish social relationships can be seen during break times. This PJ boy of the case prefers to be alone in class and outside of the class. And then the cause of this difficulty socializing with peers are lack of communication with friends, a liking to be alone, and also a lack of interest in socializing with other people. Also according to Asrobi 2008, difficulty in social relations with peers is caused by the emergence and development of excessive feelings of fear in children so that they do not dare to make decisions and do not dare to decide on friends who are deemed suitable. And at that time, even though I do not do a further conversation with PJ because I do not want to cross my limitation as a substitute teacher, and so I'm not his homeroom teacher or even his counselor, but at the very few moment, I think that I've shown and developed these competencies, which is cognitive empathy, individual's ability to know and understand the feelings of other people, which is obtained through information gathering and studying other people's situation and perspective. And then sensitivity and individual's responsiveness to other people's feelings so they can understand what help is needed. And then sympathy, an individual's ability to understand another person's perspective. And then non-judgment, the ability to accept another person's condition or feelings without showing frustration, anger, or disgust. So I think this is a sign for you as a teacher. Do not overreact when your student delivers something to you. Like, for example, when PJ said like, ini emang kosong sih Miss, tapi emang saya suka sendiri aja. Do not overreact like, hah kenapa gitu? Hah kok gitu, kenapa? Just give them a natural expression as you can like, oh gitu, oh ya udah nanti kalau ini nih, gini ya. So do not overreact. So you can give a non-judgment expression.
Okay, right?
Okay. For the next case is called challenges in emotion management. In this case of this challenge in emotion management, I encounter students during my observation and teaching in class 11 of SMA Negeri Bogor that I was told by the mentor teacher. In that class there was a student with special needs, but the mentor teacher did not tell what the special needs in the student gitu, of the students gitu. Katanya coba aja masuk dan perhatikan apa yang berbeda dari murid tersebut. And then of course this is a challenge for me as a teacher in managing the class and emotion when I teach, because this was my first experience to teach students with special needs. Okay, next. In the classroom, when I taught the students, I found that the students could socialize well with his other friends, could follow the learning well. However, the students with special needs were that he sometimes made spontaneous and frontal movements like, I'll give you the example, like like that. But I don't know what the penyakitnya, nggak tahu apa, but he made spontaneous and frontal movement sometimes gitu, and repeatedly gitu, berulang, and then shouted without cause, kayak teriak tanpa sebab apa-apa. Jadi when I said like for example, book, dia tuh mengulanginya dengan berteriak gitu, book gitu, gitu. Like latah mungkin, but I don't know. And had seizures and latency, mungkin seperti latah seperti itu. Tapi ya like that lah. But I deal with it calmly and still involve him in learning just like the other students without discriminating. Occasionally, I give him appreciation to boost his confidence, but the mentor teacher worry about when I give him appreciation. Katanya jangan terlalu diapresiasi, jangan terlalu di kayak jangan terlalu di apa ya? Dia diapresiasi seperti itu karena takutnya respon dia berbeda. Pernah saat saya memberi beliau apresiasi, dia melempar pulpen ke saya. Tapi itu menurut saya hal yang normal. Menurut saya tidak membeda-bedakan murid biasa dengan murid berkebutuhan khusus dengan murid tersebut seperti itu. Okay. Next, teaching students with special needs, intellectual disabilities, ADHD, autism, or emotional and behavioral disorders requires extra patience, deep understanding, and skills in managing emotions. Teachers who are unable to managing their emotions well may experience stress or frustration, which ultimately impacts on learning effectiveness and relationships with students. Challenges in managing emotions when teaching students with special needs. First, difficulties in communication and social interaction in students with autism or language disorder. Challenging behaviors such as tantrums, hyperactivity, or inability to focus for long periods of time. Different levels of understanding requiring a more individualized approach. And the last is teacher fatigue and stress due to the need for more complex attention and strategies. And this is the expert perspective on emotion management and social emotional learning. First, for Goldman 1995, emotional intelligence. According to Goldman, self-awareness and emotional management are very important to teachers who teach students with special needs. Teachers must be able to control their emotional reaction when facing challenges in the classroom. For example, if a student with ADHD cannot be quiet or often disrupts the class, the teacher should not immediately feel frustrated or angry. Instead, the teacher should remain calm and look for alternative ways to direct the students' energy into more productive activities. And from Lev Vygotsky argued that children's cognitive development is strongly influenced by social interaction. Therefore, teachers should create a supportive and inclusive classroom environment where students with special needs do not feel alienated. Using scaffolding methods, providing appropriate help according to students' needs is also important so that they can understand the lessons better.
Okay, and now it's about the bullying case at SMA 3 Bogor. And then bullying is a deliberate and repeated action intended to harm, threaten, or dominate someone who is seen as weaker. And then this behavior can cause significant emotional and psychological harm, making it a serious concern in both educational and society. So here for the case at SMA 3 Bogor, during the lesson on procedure text in 11th grade, students were asked to present the step directly. Jadi mereka harus membawa satu barang untuk dipresentasikan. Seperti itu. Seperti membawa hair dryer, ada yang bawa catokan, gitu contohnya. And those who couldn't bring the real object were allowed to draw in the whiteboard. In this situation, there was a student, let's call him H, who was known for his drawing skill. Skillnya itu bagus dalam menggambar. So without realizing it, his classmate began to asking H to draw without saying please or asking politely. There is one student who suddenly said, H, come here and draw this. Jadi there's no the polite asking politely. Without any permission or polite tone. And then feeling pressured, H went to forward and drew. Jadi dari mimik mukanya itu kayak terlihat terpaksa seperti itu. But in the middle of this situation, some other students interrupted their friends by saying, act nicely please. Seperti itu. And this is showed that some students were aware of importance of politeness in interacting. Although this incident seems small, the habit of giving order without politeness could turn into a form of non-verbal bullying. And in this context, bullying doesn't always involve a physical or direct verbal abuse. It can also be action that makes someone feel pleasure. The act of giving order to H without respecting him feelings reflect a form of implicit bullying, where H feels pressure without the courage to refuse it. It seems from his expression. So social emotional learning in this case, the first one is self-awareness. Here, H needs to understand and accepted his feeling when he was asked to draw without polite ways, and then recognizing feeling of pressure or discomfort is the first step in dealing with situation. And then second is self-management. Each have to try to say no, for example, by saying, sorry, could you ask more politely, please? Because self-management is focused on the ability to control emotion and act positively. And then the third is social awareness. The students who interrupted and corrected their friend showed good social awareness by respecting others' feeling. And then the fourth is relationship skills. As teacher, we can teach students to use polite language like please and thank you. It is important for building the healthy peer relationship. So here, as teacher, at that time, I remind the students to use polite language by saying, let's remember guys to ask for help politely, and then I make a class agreement on respectful communication, like the first ask for help politely, listen without interrupting, and then appreciate friends work. Jadi ketika teman mereka maju untuk mempresentasikan, kita harus appreciate them.
Okay, so the next case is lack of motivation and responsibility in learning. So based on our observation, there is a boy in SMA Negeri 3 Bogor, especially in kelas 12 Sosial D1. There is a specific boy who has lack motivation and responsibility in learning. So the first time I come to the class, I teach about conditional sentences type 3, and everyone was paying attention, and then everyone paying attention and trying to understand what we are discussing. But I saw one boy that is sleeping on his desk, so I come to his desk and then I asked, what happened to you? And he said that I'm sick. And then I said, if you're sick, you can go to the school infirmary. But he said that, no miss, I'm okay. And then I'm trying to understand him, maybe he doesn't want to merepotkan orang lain. So yaudah, gak apa-apa tidur di situ. And then kelas berjalan seperti biasa sampai ada waktu razia. Razia datang di kelas selama sekitar 15 sampai 20 menit. And suddenly dia jadi sehat kembali dan bersemangat. So I thought that he is lying. He's lying to me like that. So I asked his friend, is he really sick or not? Some of his friends said that he is sick. He is indeed sick. He is sick since yesterday. But some of his friends said no, he's lying. Like that. So I don't know which one should I believe. And maybe he did it to avoid the task and then doesn't want to pay attention to the whole learning process. So I tell him again, if you're really sick, you can go to the infirmary school. But he said no. So I give him the task that he should really do, and he did it. And then the second time that I go into that class again, it was like 2 weeks ago, and I thought if he is really indeed sick at that time, and then this meeting, the meeting that the 2 weeks before, he should really pay attention to the class. And then at that time we are melakukan pemantapan soal yang mana semua siswa mengerjakan soal-soal ya, but he didn't do it. And then when I talked to one of his friend, and then I looked at the whole classroom, suddenly one person is missing, and it is him. So I went to the back of the classroom, and he is inside the carpet. So he is crawling inside the carpet, so no one would find him. But I found him, so I said, "Go back to your seat," and then he go back to his seat. And saya kan berkeliling untuk memastikan semua orang mengerjakan. Ketika saya melihatnya dia belum mengerjakannya. Terus saya bilang kerjakan. Terus saya berkeliling, satu kali berkeliling saya ke tempat dia sudah mengerjakan semuanya. Dan I thought that he is cheating. So based on this observation, I could draw a hypothesis as to the reason of why the student have lack of responsibility and motivation. For the first one is lack of discipline and time management. Maybe the student may not have good study habits and struggle to manage their time effectively. Maybe the probability is they study until late night, or they're playing games until late night. So when it's time to class in the morning, they become exhausted. And then the second one is lack of interest and of the subject. Because I don't know about the other subject, but every time in English class, he's always like that. So I thought that he might not interested in the English subject, or he doesn't really understand. So the third one is lack of consequences. Even though I already gave a role agreement, class agreement in the beginning to not drink, not playing phone, but there is no punishment. So maybe lack of consequences. So maybe he meremehkan itu ya dan tetap melakukan kemudian so social emotional learning in this case is social awareness. The student not realize how his behavior affect their classmates and teacher, and then lack empathy for those who put in genuine effort while he is cheating. And then the second one is responsible decision making. Students avoid responsibility by skipping classwork, pretending to be sick, or cheating instead of putting in effort.
Okay, I think that's all from our group. Thank you. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Amina and Arif, you have the same problem dealing with special needs students, right? Okay. Did Ibu Evi tell you that there is students with special needs? Amina?
In my case.